Hey everybody, welcome back to On Stage, Off Stage. I'm your host, George Sapio, and this is episode number 156, August 2022. My guest this month is one of the funniest and most inventive playwrights I've ever met, Rand Higbee. I've been a fan of Rand's work for some time, having seen several of his plays in readings over the years, and he never fails to astound. His play is the first entry in our 2022 play readings, all with the theme of pets, and it's a comedy called The Death of Gingerbread. Karen is played by Kim Frochek. Sylvia is played by Maura Stevens. Stage directions are read by Philadelphia acting legend Milo Bohack. Lights rise on an empty stage. After a beat, Karen enters. She carries a book bag, which she plops down onto the floor as she collapses down onto the sofa.
Hey Mom, I'm home.
You're home early.
Big Algebra 2 test tomorrow, so busy night studying.
Algebra 2, the sequel.
Yep.
Algebra 2, the Wrath of X. The X strikes back. Huckleberry X.
All right, Mom.
Dinner will be ready in a few minutes.
You'll know where to find me.
Sylvia exits.
Mom, I heard a funny joke today. The guy who owns a cat who he loves very much, so much that he never wants to go away from home, like on vacation or anything. Mom, where's Gingerbread?
You want some gingerbread, dear?
I said, where is Gingerbread? My goldfish.
Goldfish? You don't have a goldfish.
I have a goldfish, Mom.
You don't have a goldfish. I would know if you had a goldfish.
Mom, I have a goldfish. His name is Gingerbread.
Not ringing a bell.
He sits right there on the bookcase. I won him at the state fair 3 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
So you remember?
No, I don't remember a goldfish. But if it was the state fair, then the fair is in September and this is February, so...
Mom, I have a goldfish. His name is Gingerbread. He sits in a bowl on the bookcase right there.
Maybe you dreamed that, honey. Oh, I know a joke about a goldfish. You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. Actually, that's about a tuna fish.
Mom...
What do you call a goldfish playing poker? Fish and chips.
That's not even funny.
Yes, it is. What did the goldfish have for breakfast? He can't remember. Because goldfish don't remember very well.
What happened to Gingerbread?
I don't remember. See? I'm like a goldfish. Okay. I remember.
You remember I have a goldfish?
Yes. Yes, you have a goldfish. He's 6 feet tall, invisible, and you named him Harvey.
I'm a big girl, Mom.
That's debatable.
If Gingerbread died, I can handle it.
Once when you were 5 years old, a goldfish died and you cried for an entire week. And that was a goldfish on TV.
I'm not 5 years old anymore.
No, I suppose not. I just don't want you to get upset and wail and carry on.
I won't.
Gingerbread died.
Okay, Mom.
You're all right?
I'm fine.
You loved that goldfish.
He was a goldfish, and he was 3 years old.
2.5.
He had a good life.
Considering he was only a goldfish, I suppose so. I came into the room to dust, and I saw Gingerbread floating on his back. And at first I thought, oh, isn't that nice? After all these years of swimming on his front, he finally learned the backstroke? But then I realized what that actually meant.
Did you bury him?
Sylvia mimes taking the goldfish out of his bowl, then going to the toilet, dropping him in, and flushing.
Plop. Was that okay?
I suppose. I wish you would have waited for me.
You fall apart at funerals.
All right. Did you say any words?
Mm-hmm. I performed a eulogy, yes. I said, you've been a good and loyal goldfish, Gingerbread, for 2.5 years.
That was nice.
Did you want to add anything? You can go stand over the toilet if you want to say something.
I will think that over. Now, isn't this better than trying to deny that I had a goldfish?
I suppose so.
You don't think you were actually going to pull that one off, did you?
desperate times and all that, you know. I'm going to go finish supper now.
Go do that.
You'll be all right?
I will.
You sure?
Mom!
I'll go finish supper now.
Sylvia exits. Karen gets back to work on her algebra. After several moments, Sylvia re-enters.
I killed Gingerbread.
What? Mom, no.
I did. It was me.
What was you?
I tried to cover it up, but your relentless questioning has broken me
What
down.
are you saying?
I was dusting. I don't know how it happened, but the bowl fell off and it broke on the floor.
Calm down.
I can't calm down. I murdered Gingerbread.
No,
He was
you didn't.
laying there on the floor and I should have moved quicker. It was like I was paralyzed.
You panicked.
Yes, I panicked. And Gingerbread just lay on the floor with those big goldfish eyes and he was saying, why?
He was not thinking that.
It was an accident.
Of course it was.
But what if it wasn't an accident?
It was.
What if I did it on purpose?
You wouldn't have done it on purpose.
You always loved that goldfish more than you loved me.
What? Mom, how could you say such a thing?
The way you would go to his bowl sometimes and you would tap on his bowl. You never tapped on my bowl.
You don't have a bowl.
Still, it was such a sign of affection on your part.
Mom, if you are ever living in a bowl, I will tap on the bowl.
You promise?
I do. I love you more than I could ever love a goldfish.
I'm sure you do, but sometimes I get insecure.
Yes, you do. Are you going to be all right?
I think so.
Can I get you something?
Maybe a glass of milk.
All right.
Karen gets up and is about to exit.
And I made some cookies.
Good. What kind?
Oh, gingerbread!
Why don't we forget about the snack? It's almost supper time.
Yes. By the time I got some water in a glass so I could put him somewhere.
Yes, it's all right. It's all right.
I should have called 911.
Probably not.
No. I suppose it was fait accompli.
I'm sure it was.
Why don't you wash up? Supper's ready.
Okay. Aren't we gonna wait for Dad?
Dad? You don't have a dad.
Sylvia exits as Karen stares after her. The lights quickly fade. That was The Death of Gingerbread by Rand Higbee. Karen was played by Kim Frochek. Sylvia was played by Mara Stevens, and stage directions were read by Philadelphia acting legend Milo Bohack. We were very fortunate to be able to catch up with Rand and have some good chat with him and talk about where this funny little play came from. You know, as soon as I saw your email with the submission, I knew there was going to be something special in there because everything I've seen from you is unique, it's special, and there's always something in there that makes you sit there and go, what? And this was absolutely no exception. So I got to ask you, as a playwright and as somebody who's read this thing about half a dozen times already, where did you come up with this? What was the first piece of this play that entered your psyche and walked into your soul and said, write me? Where did you start with this one?
Well, generally speaking, I'm always on the lookout for subjects to write about, or for something to write about. Mm-hmm. And there's an old joke, I don't know if you know it, about, one of the lines in it is, the cat's on the roof and we can't get her down. Are you familiar with that joke?
No. Come on, hit me with it.
Do you want to hear the whole thing?
Yeah. Well, is it a long joke?
It's not real long. This guy, single guy, loves his cat. He never goes anywhere because he loves his cat and he's afraid to leave his cat anywhere. So finally, though, there's something comes up that he has to go do. So he goes on vacation. He leaves the cat with his mom and his brother. And the brother's kind of a goofball. He calls up a couple days into his vacation to see how the cat is. The brother says, "Cat's dead." My God, why'd you have to hit me like that? Why didn't why didn't you just break it to me gently? Well, what do you mean? Let's just say the cat's on the roof and we can't get her down. Oh, okay. Well, I could have done that. He goes, well, just put mom on the line. And the brother thinks for a long moment and goes, "Mom's on the roof and I can't get her down."
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay.
So I don't know why I was thinking of that joke. I heard somebody tell it again or something, and I just thought there's a play in there, and you can see it's not that story, but it's similar.
Yeah. Okay.
It has the same sort of emphasis, or same sort of modus operandi or something.
Right. Right.
And I used to have a goldfish named Gingerbread. So
okay. That was going to be one of my next questions. Have you ever owned a goldfish? Yeah. Did you win the goldfish at the state fair by any chance?
That's funny. I won it at a county fair.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The girl wins it in the state fair. Yeah, I won it at a county fair, and it was like, how long is this thing going to last, right? But had it for like 3 years. It was a nice goldfish.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's where most goldfish come from. Actually, you've won them somehow, and you have to walk around with that little glass globe for the rest of the night, hoping it doesn't spill out somewhere. Or they do it in plastic bags now. So, okay, so I got all the way to the end of this play, and that last line was the kicker for me. That was the one that just absolutely made the whole thing. But I didn't see it in terms of the joke you just told. But once you did tell the joke, I got it. Because this poor child, this teenager, has to go through all this stuff with her mom, and you got me thinking, mom's seriously in need of some kind of medication or needs to lay off the French roast or something like that. And then you get all the way to the end, and it's just, I don't know if she's kidding. I don't know if she's serious. But it's a perfect ending line for this play.
That's good. Sometimes I really didn't. I was unsure about this one, whether people would like it or not. But so far, the reaction's been great.
Yeah.
Sometimes, oh no, I flew too close to the sun. I knew when I was writing that one, people are going to love this thing. There are other times.
Yeah.
Sometimes, every once in a while, you write something and you know it.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I really wasn't sure about it. And of course, there's been times I felt like that, and then nobody likes it at all. So, but
I find that not everybody gets everything that I or other people write, but I think the main important thing is whether or not you like it, and it seems like you did. I mean, I got to the end of this thing and it was perfect. Okay. I thought it worked beautifully, which is one of the reasons we're producing it here, because it's hilarious. And B, it's a great little play for two actors to just step up and have a ball with, right? And a lot of plays aren't so outwardly fun to just walk into and just play. So yeah, I think it works. Congratulations.
No, well, thank you.
Yeah. So, this, like I said before, when I was doing the intro, this is for me. This is because I've seen so much of your work already. Okay, you and I actually met a number of years ago, and I'm not going to talk about how many years, but it was a bunch, at what was then the Last Frontier Theater Conference. And And I can't
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
I can't remember the first play of yours that I saw, but it might have been Lightning Bug. Um,
That's a good possibility. That was early on in my time there. Yeah.
is that one of your first plays?
One of the first in terms of when yes, it was presented at the last Frontier Theater Conference, Valdez Theater Conference. It was one
Okay,
of the first.
all right.
But I'd been writing for a while. It was just sometimes it takes you a while to get your sea legs or get to figuring out what you're doing. You know.
I think a lot of his experimentation in the beginning. I mean, who walks into this? Well, I guess maybe some folks do, but I can't picture out how they do it. But it's a question of I know I want to write and I know I have stories to tell, but how am I going to tell these stories? And every time I've seen one of yours, it's become memorable. Lightning Bug was memorable. The Head That Wouldn't Die was memorable for a couple of reasons because I've also got to play with a head that wouldn't die. But I can't remember if that was the
But
first one I saw or not.
probably, that was the first thing at the in Valdez,
Yeah.
or the Valdez Theater Conference. I had actually had Dawson had done a play of mine at the college there a couple of years before, which is how he and I got to know each other. But the first thing that was actually done at the conference was The Head That Wouldn't Die.
Okay.
So if you remember that, it's probably
Yeah.
the first thing of mine you encountered.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that one. By the way, for our listeners, the Dawson in question is Dawson Moore, who is the, oh my gosh, head coordinator, grand muckety muck, everything
Yeah.
that there is to do with with the Valdez Theater Conference. That's Dawson. Um, I'm one of the early guests on my show 10 years ago. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Dawson.
It's hard to
Dawson.
think of that conference with. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's that conference is one of the best things about being a playwright. It's a remarkable week. You see some incredible work. You make tons of new friends, and it's like a dude ranch for playwrights and actors. I mean, it's practically perfect. So it's nice
Oh,
to
I
be.
agree. I can't think of a better time I've had as a theater person. I can't think of having a better time than Valdez,
Yeah,
the
no,
Valdez conference.
I will totally second that. It's an incredible week when you think about everything that happens within it. I mean, 60 some odd plays that are read, an evening of other a full up play practically every night, and then there's the Fringe, which
Yeah.
goes until oh my gosh, the sun comes up, which at that point is like 1:30 a.m. because the sun really never goes down in June in Valdez. A very
They've curtailed the fringe a little bit. I mean, it's a little more structured now than it used to be. It
yeah.
used to be kind of the wild and woolly west, but it's a little more structured now. So you don't have the evenings quite that long, but I mean, there's still bars and things. So afterwards, everybody,
Oh yeah,
the evenings can get long there. That's for sure.
yeah. It's an experience. Playwrights out there, if you can apply, it's a wonderful experience, and you'll love every minute of it. I noticed also while doing some research on you, and I did not know this before. You write for the high school age group.
Well, yes, that's how I started really.
Okay.
Uh, I'd done when I was at South Dakota State University as an undergrad. I kind of started dabbling in playwriting, but it wasn't really until I started teaching at White River High School, Little White River, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and of course, they wanted me to direct the school plays and put on some school plays. So I started writing some stuff for high school age students, and
Okay.
uh, I got some of these published, and that's kind of what woke me up and thought, made me think, well, geez, maybe you can actually do this. you know,
Yeah.
maybe you have a talent here and this is something you can do. So after teaching high school for a few years, I started looking around and noticed there were graduate programs for writing, not only just for writing, but for playwriting.
I know.
And
How
I just thought,
esoteric is
wow,
that? Yeah.
yeah, and how fun would that be? And so that's what I did. I looked around and I got accepted into UNLV,
Okay.
and that's when I stopped looking because, like I say, I taught for high school for 4 years in this little town in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Uh, and suddenly going to Las Vegas and learning how to write plays, just sounded great. So,
It's a bit
so
of a
that's what I
culture
did.
change, isn't it?
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah. I mean, in so many ways,
Yeah.
I mean, it
Oh
was,
yeah. It's like two completely different planets. Let me ask you this: when you were
yeah.
at UNLV, did you ever run into a playwright dramaturg named Doug Hill?
That's not ringing a bell.
Okay, cool. It was a dramaturg on one of my early plays. Knows his stuff. It's really good character. Excellent playwright too. I ended up directing one of his plays later on. So you were in
Mm.
Vegas for what, 4 years?
It's a 3-year program.
Okay.
And then I don't know, I didn't have much motivation to leave afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I hung around for a few more years.
Wow,
Uh,
you really liked it there.
just because I got a job and I had friends there
Okay.
and I didn't have a lot of motivation to leave. But
Yeah.
finally, the job came to an end. The company closed down, and I moved back to Minnesota,
Gotcha.
which was a good move. And I love Minnesota. I love the area. I love the Upper Midwest.
Yeah. It's a
I don't
beautiful
love the
place.
snow. Oh yes, I don't love the snow, and the snow. Honest to God, winters just became too much for me.
Yeah. I
And
know.
so here I am out in the Oregon coast where it doesn't snow. That's so nice.
That's a plus. Let me ask you this, because I've written for high school students. I've written one play for high school students, and you've written several. That's how you started. Is there a difference in your purpose for writing? Because I know other folks who write for high school students, and it's usually with some kind of, I'm going to say, deliberate message, or that sort of thing pops up a lot more. When you write for high school students as opposed to the general public, is there a difference with you?
I think there was at one time. I think like one of the first ones I wrote for high school students was called "To Absent Friends,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically a kind of a finger wagging, don't drink and drive type play.
Gotcha.
But it's gotten done a lot. So, I'm still making money on it. So
Yeah.
after nearly 40 years, so you can't complain about that.
No, you
Uh,
can't. Yeah.
but eventually I softened that more, and I think it was just more, you want the kids to have fun.
Sure.
This is for an awful lot of students, this is going to be their first introduction into the theater world. And let's let them have fun and find out that theater can be a lot of fun.
Oh
So
yeah.
I kind of softened it in later years and went in that direction. Now, gosh, it's been so long since I've done that. I don't know if I could just sit down and write a play for high school kids anymore. I don't know if I could. Maybe it's an interesting thought. Maybe it's something I should think about.
And I would think it'd be interesting for, I mean, considering we both have a track record in life to begin with and playwriting, that now that we're both more experienced, hopefully in both, we might write something different or might write something, I don't know, more purposeful, at least for that age group. It's something to play around the back of your head with a little bit, It's I toy with it.
Mm.
Yeah, and I keep thinking, who am I to tell these kids what to do? Considering my teenhood was one misadventure after another. I was not the sharpest tool in the shed there, but It's an interesting concept, I think.
I mean, of course, at the time, I'm spending almost every day with a bunch of high school kids, you know.
Yeah.
So I understood where they were coming from more.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's been so long. I don't know. I don't know if I'm still on the same wavelength or understand exactly what they want. And they talk about things. When I meet a high school kid today, they talk about things I have no idea what they're talking about. They're talking about their Snapchat and their, stuff like that. And like, what?
Yeah, I know the language changed and everything else has changed. Good point. Good point. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you working on now? You got anything in the that you're chewing around with, that you're typing out there? What's next for you?
I actually have a couple full lengths that I've been messing with. I write a draft to one of them and then set it aside and work on the other one for a while. And I kind of go back and forth like that. The one's a workplace comedy.
Okay.
Kind of based on my years working for 3M. There's a lot of wacky things in the workplace today. You've seen it in like The Office, the TV shows like The Office and Superstore. And I think it's not only ripe for just straight comedy, but it is ripe for a lot of satire. And so that's one thing I'm working on. The other one is it's a comedy about comedy.
All right.
And it's in a nutshell, and there's a lot more to it than this. It's about a clown, an aging clown who wants to train his daughter to be a clown, and she doesn't want to be a clown. But it hopefully explores. That's kind of a fancy term when people throw into your description. It explores this, but it looks at what is comedy. The question, what is comedy, and why do we laugh? And that's just something that has intrigued me all of my life, because you can't put a definition to it. Anytime somebody says this is why we laugh, I can come up with a counterexample. We laugh because surprise. It is the surprise that makes us laugh. But repetition is funny. Hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. This is my other brother Daryl.
Sure, yeah.
After the second time he said that, it wasn't a surprise anymore. Why was it always funny?
But it was still funny.
Yeah. So I mean, that's two completely contradictory. One, you laugh at because it's a surprise. One, you laugh because it isn't a surprise.
Yeah.
I've also. Oh, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No. Go
I've also heard it said that comedy is all comedy is based on cruelty, because there is always a victim. There's always the joke is on somebody. It's about how dumb is this person, and you can go to YouTube and look up fails. And see all these videos of people falling or banging their head against something. So there's something to that. There is a bit of cruelty and humor.
Hey, Rand, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us on Stage, Off Stage. And thank you so much for sending us The Death of Gingerbread. It was one of the more favorite things I've been privileged to read in recent times. And we howled with it. And yeah, good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. And that's been fun.
Hey kids, thanks for listening to On Stage, Off Stage. On Stage, Off Stage is produced monthly, and all of our shows can be found at onstageoffstage.org and also on iTunes and Spotify. If you enjoy what we do, please recommend us to your friends. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at OnOffStage. And if you are a theater artist with an upcoming project of interest or know of someone in the theater who'd make some seriously good chat, by all means, send us a note at info@onstageoffstage.org. I'm George Sapio. Thank you once again for listening. And please, stay safe, be careful not only for yourself, but for those with whom we all share this rock. And as always, Happy theatering to all of you.